The Olympics are coming to Trestles, specifically Lower Trestles, simply known as Lowers. Almost every surfer on the planet has heard of Trestles, and many days a year it can be a fantastic and varied place to surf. Trestles consists of a world-class A-frame peak at Lowers, a rippable right at Uppers, funboarding and longboarding at Cottons, Church, and Middles. Lowers is going to be the break hosting the Olympics. It's a world-class wave that has been used as a stop for the World Surf League competitions and for the World Surf League Championship Finals. In July of 2028, it will be seen by the world through the Olympics. So what is and where is Trestles? Let's find out with a tour of the surf breaks, the trails, and the wetlands that make up the Trestles Wetlands Natural Preserve. What makes the Trestles peaks so good for surfing? The breaks have a cobblestone bottom with underwater points that keeps the waves breaking in a consistent location. These points are relatively unchanged from year to year, which is unlike a sandy beach where the sand moves around and can change the shape and location of the waves that break there. Even though the cobblestone points stay in generally the same place, the wave shape changes quite a bit depending on the tide and the swell direction. Southerly swells occur in the summer, northwesterly swells in the winter. The best swell direction for lowers is typically a southerly swell that hits the underwater point at an angle that creates an A-frame peak with equally rippable rights and lefts at the same time. With a little luck, the Olympics in July could hit the prime time for lowers. Trestles is located just south of San Clemente, just across the San Diego County line. California State Parks operates the Trestles Wetland area through a lease from the Camp Pendleton Marine Corps base. What makes Trestles truly special is that it can only be accessed by foot, skateboard, bike, or e-bike. No parking lots, no cars on the beach, no tourist facilities of any kind, except for some porta potties. Trestles is special because surfers come here to surf. There's no volleyball, no barbecues, no frisbee, no smash ball, no football tossing tourists. A special surf vibe exists here that is unlike almost every other surf spot in California. Every day you see hundreds of dedicated surfers walking, skating, and biking a couple of miles from the state park parking lot just south of Carl's Jr. to Trestles. Electric bikes have really opened up the Trestles area to surfers of all ages. There are many opinions on how e-bikes have changed Trestles, but it's great to see that local Groms, surfing families, and future pro surfers have easier access to Trestles. So, you've decided to walk or bike to Trestles. How do you know where you are and which break you are looking at? The trailhead starts next to the southbound freeway on-ramp, which connects to the trail made from the old highway that parallels the I-5 freeway. A sign shows where the surf breaks are in relation to each other. From the sign, keep heading west down the trail to the beach towards Cottons Point. Go under the trestles to the beach, and you are at Cotton's. Cotton's is named after Hamilton H. Cotton, the original owner of an estate on the bluff at the southernmost point of San Clemente. How do you know you're there? Look for the cliff, a metal tower, and driftwood shacks on the beach. Just a short walk down the beach is Uppers, named for being adjacent to the northern or upper section of the railroad trestles through the wetlands. How do you know you're there? Look for the river mouth or a pond created by the creek, a steel bridge section of the old trestles, and a four-post shack. The break is right in front of these landmarks. The next break south of Uppers is Lowers. If you are walking down the beach, it is the next defined break you will come to. How do you know you're there? There's a sand and dirt access road on the beach that ends here, and almost guaranteed there'll be dozens of e-bikes parked at the end of the dirt road. South of Lowers is Middles, named for being in the middle between Lowers and Church, not for being between Uppers and Lowers, which would be too logical. How do you know you're there? Middles is directly under the lifeguard headquarters on top of the bluff, and there are always porta potties located at the footpath leading from the Middles Trail that crosses the railroad tracks. The most southerly break in the Trestles area is Church, which got its name for a small church that was on the bluff along the old road. The church is long gone, and the area is now used as a staging area for surf contests. How do you know you're there? Look for the river mouth of San Mateo Creek, where there's a railroad trestle. The church surf break is northerly of the river mouth. Trestles got its name from the railroad supported on heavy wooden structures called trestles over the wetland at the mouth of Cristianitos Creek. The trestles were originally built in the late 1880s by driving wooden pilings into the wetland, similar to a pier. Then heavy timbers were installed on the pilings, which supported the railroad tracks. In 2011, about 120 years later, the wooden trestles in the Uppers area were replaced by concrete caissons and supports. Definitely not as picturesque as the old wooden ones, but the project was needed to keep the railroad operating for decades to come. A sand berm on the beach dams the creek that creates a pond for the birds. Winter storms typically blow out the berm, but most of the pond remains year-round. Cormorants and egrets fish in the creek and rest in the sycamores. When you're on the beach, turn your head away from the surf and you will see what a valuable ecological resource the wetlands create. You will be surprised at what you might see. Since we have walked on the beach all the way south to Church, let's go back on the trail that follows the Blufftop. Going under the trestles and up a steep sandy hill is where the old church was. You get a great view of the break at Church and down the coast to San Onofre. Keep following the trail to the lifeguard headquarters and enjoy the viewpoint. you are directly above middles, with a great view of lowers and a glimpse at uppers. You also get a better sense of how big the wetlands are. During most of the WSL contests, they put a cameraman at this viewpoint. Next, follow the trail east to the old highway, which is now part of the trail system, and head north. Just as you start down the hill and on your left, you will see the trail to Middles. This is a popular trail, even though it's highly eroded. Since this trail crosses the railroad tracks instead of under it like at Cotton's, Uppers, and Church, it's not an official trail by the state park system. From here you get your last look at lowers. Stay on the old highway and enjoy the walk. For the most part, the trail is below the height of the freeway, and I have to admit that you hardly notice that the freeway is there at all. Finally, you will cross the old highway bridge, built in 1946, which crosses the Cristianitos Creek and the beginning of the wetlands. And you are back at the sign where we started. Before the chaos descends on Trestles, created by the crowds wanting to see Olympic surfing, come down and see what the area is really like. Thanks for watching.